Hello friends, welcome to BSP Solution. My name is Lokesh Gandhi. In today's session, we are going to perform P2P cycle. P2P cycle nothing but a procure to pay cycle. Procure to pay process originate in the procurement business area. And the P2P cycle is an integral and essential part of procurement and payables application as well. So procure to pay process is how an organization procure the goods, procure the material to do the business. And the procure to pay process is first we have to identify the needs, the requirements of the organization. So after identifying the needs, we create the purchase requisition. So under the purchase requisition, we define the item description, item cost, all the item related information we define in the requisition, purchase requisition. So after creating the purchase requisition, we have to approve this purchase requisition by the concerned person, right? So after approving this requisition, we convert this purchase requisition into the purchase order. So under this purchase order, we define the supply side, all the supply related information, right? And we have to edit the items, the item price, the price of the item under the purchase order. So these purchase orders should be approved by the concerned person, right? So after approving this purchase order, we create the receipt, right? After creating the receipt, we create the invoice. So against this receipt in the purchase order, we create the invoice, right? And after creating this invoice, we do the payment, right? So we pay the payment to the vendor and the supplier. So the purchase requisition and the purchase order and the receipt comes under the procurement application, and the invoice and the payments comes under the financial application, right? So procure to pay is the process of requisitioning, receiving, purchasing, account for the goods and the services, covering all, covering entire process, right from the order through the payment, right? From the order to the payments, the process P2P cycle complete, right? So we in this video we complete will perform all the P2P process from the identify the needs, the requisition, we create the requisition, we will create the purchase order. After that, we create the receipt, and based on the receipt and the purchase order, we create the invoice. After creating this invoice, we then the payment. We create the payment, right? So let's move on to the application and we'll perform the P2P complete cycle, right? So this is our application. So first of all, we will create the requisition. So click on this navigator and go to the procurement and click on this purchase requisition. So we are going to create the purchase requisition based on the requirement. So click on this more task and click on the enter requisition line. So the line type is goods. We already defined in our configuration, and we have to select the item, which item you want to buy. Click on that, select it, right? This is the quantity. You can define the quantity over here. I'm defining the 10 quantity. We are requiring the requirement of the 10 quantity as per the testing purpose, right? We have to define the minute measure of unit, right? Unit of measure, and the price, the default price we already defined in our configuration part, right? You can change over here. If you want to change it, you can change, right? The currency over here and the requester and this agreement. You can define the agreement over here. We have the three type of agreement. We will cover in our upcoming session what are the agreements in this application, in the procurement application, right? So this information delivered to location, delivered to everywhere, we have already defined our configuration part, procurement configuration part, right? So click on this add to cart. Right. After click on this add to cart, click on this line button. So we have two options. Either we can review, either we can submit it, right? So click on this review. So it defines all the requisition information about the item, right? You can edit it over here. Now click on this submit. So the requisition submitted. Save this, copy it, click on OK, right? So let's check the requisition status. So click on this manage requisition, search the requisition, right? Search it. You can see over here the status is pending approval, right? Click on this search and click on this search icon over here. This search button react as a refresh button. This search button act as a refresh button, and we are performing the approvals as automatically, right? We already defined in our configuration, right? So click on this search button. It will take few minutes, right? Now you can see over here the status gets approved, right? Now this requisition, we convert this requisition into the purchase order. So click on done and click on this navigator. In the procurement part, click on this purchase order. Click on this task list. Click on this process requisition. And search for the requisition. Search it. Now you can see this is our requisition, right? So select this requisition line and click on this add to builder, add to document builder, right? So this option gets convert this requisition, this purchase requisition into the purchase order, right? So click on that and you can see all the information capture from the requisition, and you can define the source agreement and the style is purchase order, right? So in the purchase order you have to define the supplier. So let's select our supplier. So this is our supplier and this is our supplier site and this is our currency, right? Click OK. So in the document builder, all the information get fetched, right? You can see the requisition BUs, sold to legal entity, the style, the purchase order, the supplier name, supplier site, currency. And if you want to edit all the information, if you want to edit any information from the document builder, you can click on this edit icon over here, right? So now we are creating the purchase order. So click on this create option over here. So the document purchase order was created. Let's copy it. Now click OK. Now this is the general information about this purchase order. You can see over here, right? And we have some terms. We have the payment terms. You can select as per your requirement which payment term you want to connect, you want to define in the terms, payment terms. Let's select the immediate option, right? But you can select as per your requirement, right? And this other information. So this is our item information, right? We have the quantity and we have the base price, right? We have the location, we have the inventory organization, right? So we have the destinations type expense. Yes, the matching approval level. So in the two-way matching, we create the invoice against the purchase order, right? We create the invoice against the purchase order. And when we select the three-way matching, so in three-way matching, we create the invoice against the purchase order and the receipt, right? So we match the purchase order and the receipt in the invoice. And when we select the four-way matching, that means we create the invoice against the PO, receipt, and expected quantity, right? So we are performing the P2P cycle. So we select the three-way matching and the invoice match option based on the receipt, right? So first we create the receipt. After that, we create the invoice, right? And this is our charge account. This charge account we already define in our PO tab, right? And many more on options we have. As per your requirement, you can input it, right? So all the information, let's click on submit option. So the document purchase order, the same was submitted for approval, right? So this is our 164520. This is our purchase order, copy it, okay. So now click on this again, task list, manage order, and search for the order. Right, the status is pending approval. right? Again, click on search. Click on search. The status gets open. That means it gets approved, right? The status gets approved. Now we have to create the receipt. Now click on done. So in order to create a receipt, click on this navigator and go to the supply chain execution. Click on this inventory management. Click on task. Click on this show task. Click on this receipt option, right? So in the receipt, we already select the receipt routing method. We perform the receipt routing method in our uh, receipt option, right? So in this receipt routing method, this method perform in two steps. In the first step, we perform the task, the material first take into the staging area, and or you can say the receiving area. And after that, in the second step, this material comes into the inventory area, right? So the material comes under the receiving area. We have to generate the receive expected shipment. And after this receiving expected shipment, we have to generate the put away receipt so that this material, this item gets come into the inventory area, right? So first we click on this receive expected shipment so that the item comes into the staging area, the receiving area, right? So find out the purchase order, click search. So this is our purchase order, right? Select this purchase order, click on this receive. Right. So this is our receive line, right? So this is our item, the purchase, the document type, and this supplier and quantity. How much quantity would receive in our staging area, in our receiving area. So let's define 10 quantity. We have received, right? So can we have the destination type is receiving, right? So in the receiving area, we have to define this receiving location. We have already created. Let's select. So this is our receiving area, right? And when we select the inventory, so in that way we have to define the sub inventory, right? And no need to define more option. So now click on this create receipt. So no worry, it's a warning. Click on this receipt option, right? The receipt gets created, right? Now click on submit. So the receipt was created. The number of line 1, right? So this is our receipt number, copy it, okay. Done. So let's check the quantity on-hand quantity in our receiving quantity in our organization. So click on this task list, click on this inventory and manage item quantities. So click on this receive option and deselect the on hand and search our item by item. Search it. So you can see over here the receiving area, the quantity, the 10 quantity comes under the receiving area. And after that, we perform the put away receipt. In that way, after this completing process, this receiving area, this quantity comes from the receiving area into the inventory, in the inventory option, right? So done. Click on this task list. Click on this receipt. Click on put away receipt and search for the receipt over here. See, this is our receipt, the 10 quantity, and this is our document number, nothing but a purchase order. And select this, click on this put away. So from the receiving area to the inventory area, how much quantity you want to receive, right? You can select, you can receive the 5 quantity, 7 quantity, 8 quantity, 10 quantity. You can select as per your requirement, right? So we are going with the 10 quantity, right? So now click on this submit option. So the put away transaction was created. Click OK. Now done. Let's check the on-hand quantity. Inventory, manage item quantities, search for the item. Let's click on the receiving area first. So non receiving area, let's click on this on-hand quantity. You can see in the on-hand quantity created by the 10, right? That's done. Now, after creating the receipt, we will create the invoice. Click on this navigator and go to the invoice option. So we have to go to the payables. Click on payables, click on invoice. Click on task list, click on create invoice. So we have to define the purchase order. So search. So this is our purchase order, search for that. Select it, okay. So all the information fetched by this purchase order, right? So this is invoice number we have to define. So let's define 2222, right? And this is the amount. So the amount is right, and the type, the invoice type, standard, prepayment, debit, credit, the all other option, the payment, debit memo, credit memo, we will see in our upcoming session. All the functionality related this invoice type. But right now we will go with the standard, right? Now we have the payment option. The immediate we have already selected in our requisition, right? The payment, the term date, right? So click on this line option. In the line option, click on this go option, right? So this match, actually this is the match invoice line. So we are going to create the invoice against the PO, this purchase order information, and the receipt option, receipt information, right? So click on that. Okay, it's the warning, right? So this is the amount, the quantity 10. This 10 quantity comes from the receipt, and the unit price comes from the purchase order, so that this invoice match with the three-way matching, right? So the order quantity is 10, and the received quantity is also 10, right? The available 10, the accepted 10, these all the information, right? You can receive quantity less than 10 because you order the 10 quantity, so you can select the 10, 9, 8 as per your requirement, right? So click on this apply, click OK, right? So a line gets created based on the purchase order and the receipt, and also the distribution account also created by this line. You can see over here the distribution combination. You can see the distribution combination all are fetched based on the purchase order, right? Save and close. Now we have to validate this invoice. So this is invoice action. Click on that and click on this validate. So our invoice gets validated, right? And now we have to post this invoice. So again, click on this invoice action and click on this post to ledger, right? So that this invoice post to the our general ledger, right? So the accounting complete. You can view the accounting, click on that. So this is our invoice validate 5,000, right? And this is the taxation over here. Click done. Now let's perform the payment task, right? We have to perform the payment to the supplier, right? Now click on this navigator, and in order to pay the payment to the supplier, we have to go to the payables and click on this payments. So again, click on this task list and click on create payment, right? So this is our business unit, and we have to select our supplier, search for that. This is our supply number. Let's find Dell. Yes, Dell. Now type is quick, and this is our bank account. We have to create the bank before creating these payments, right? So we have already created in our configuration. Let's select bank name. This got so this is our bank, and this is our bank account number, right? And we have to define the payment process profile. We have already configured, right? And the payment document. Now we have to click this on invoice to pay. Click on that, and we have to select this is our invoice number 2222. Click on that, apply it, and click OK. So we are going to perform the payment, right? This is our amount, right? Now click on this save and close. The payment has been created. Okay. Now you can see all the information in our generals. Let's go to this navigator. Go to the accounting, general accounting. Click on journal. Click on this task list, manage journal, and click on this accounting period 922, and the source payables, and search it. Search for our journal. So search for the date, today's date. So this is 28. You can see the amount. You can see 5475. Click on that. So you can see over here the amount debited equal to credited, debit equal to credit 5475, and the batch status posted, the completion status complete. So cancel out. So you can see how P2P process perform in our procurement application, from the requisition, how to create the requisition, how to create the purchase order, the receipt, how to create the invoice, how to do the payment. So this is all about the P2P cycle in our procurement section, procurement application. So hope you understand. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you so much.